Welcome to the Duncan Cowichan Chamber of Commerce Provincial Election Candidate Interview Series. Today we're joined by Debra Toporowski, the BC NDP candidate for Cowichan Valley. Debra, a member of Cowichan Tribes, has served both as a North Cowichan councillor and Cowichan Tribes councillor, focusing on issues like housing, healthcare, and affordability. Her platform aims to improve community services, build key infrastructure, and support working families. We're looking forward to hearing Debra's insights on how her policies will impact the local community and business environment. Debra, welcome.
Thank you.
Thank you much. All right, so to start with, let's talk about understanding the importance of business. So how do you see the role of business in driving economic growth, and what specific policies would you put forward to create a thriving business environment?
Well, I know small businesses is the heart of our community, and I know the importance of it as well. Putting policies forward, I'd have to get in touch with the community to get more updated on the challenges that businesses are facing right now. I've heard, but again, you can make assumptions on what you hear on the street, and it would be different with the small businesses in our community. So I'm willing to sit down and talk to business community and moving forward on working on them. I read about the 10 recommendations from the BC Chambers on the move towards the provincial election and some of the concerns that were shared there.
Okay. Let's start with one of the bigger concerns, mental health, crime, and safety. So mental health and public safety are growing concerns for businesses, employees, and customers alike. How do you plan to work with law enforcement and community organizations to tackle mental health challenges and ensure the safety of businesses, their staff, and the public throughout the Cowichan Valley?
The pandemic has really heightened and magnified issues 10 times to what it is, and it's in our faces now, and it's something that you cannot no longer ignore. What happened with the mental health services being cut, we're seeing the effects of that rolling out on our streets right now. And through my 20 years of advocating, I watched Cowichan Tribes in North Cowichan and also regional districts get together during the time of the pandemic to start tackling issues that were faced on our streets. And I think we can actually do, we've shown we can do something about it. So bringing that to the legislature, bringing that to my leader to let him know the actual things that the gaps that are happening on from the tables that have the professionals, the stakeholders that are community health network. They're stakeholders like doctors, nurses, or whatever that are on that table, and listening to what they have come forward with, did the studies. Governments love numbers and studies, right? So there is a lot of gaps that we need, and that those services that are needed for people that have mental health and addictions in our community. I would like to be that voice to bring forward to say, this is what we're going to do. And the community has already come up with some of these solutions, and how can we improve that safety on our streets on top of what the BC NDP is already doing.
Okay. So the cost of doing business and tax regulations, many small and medium-sized businesses are struggling with rising costs and regulatory pressures. What will you do to ease the tax and regulatory burden on these businesses? Are there any specific relief or incentive programs you'll put into place to help them stay competitive?
Well, starting out as an Avon rep when I was younger, I see the costs that affect small business, and like if you have those incentives that are able to come from the government will be very helpful for small business. My grandparents owned a historical steam laundry down on Jubilee and First till 1974. So I've been, born and raised in a hardworking family, and working for the MLA for 12 years, there were incentives, but I would have those at my fingertips to be able to share with the community. Again, sitting down with the businesses to say, where do you need the help? And then looking for that funding to help.
Great. Another big thing that's being talked about is housing and staffing. So there's a new hospital on the way, and finding affordable housing and attracting skilled professionals has become a very urgent issue. How will your government address the housing crunch to ensure local businesses and essential services like healthcare can hire and retain the staff that they need?
Like answered in these 5 questions that were sent in, David Eby's action plan is bringing 300,000 middle-class homes to BC. You know, also advocating to have that targeted funding to be here in the Cowichan Valley is something that I would advocate for. And I have seen at the regional district, Cowichan Tribes, North Cowichan, how hard it is to attract the staff and that talent, and also keep them here. So what can we put into place to keep that talent here? Is start building that more homes that will make the relief of the, you know, the social housing that's at, you know, taking up that 1% or 0% of vacancy, right? So being able to create homes for people that are going to come here for the new hospital. I know CVRD has a plan through their housing strategy plan. And I haven't really delved into it because I think it just came to the table like last week or something. So I took a leave from there, but I know that these things are working in the background. So how can our government support those initiatives and efforts moving forward? At North Cowichan, we were building up on Ford Road and talked to the developers with new developments, asking the developers to make 10% of the units below cost. So, and that's just a start. And I think, you know, and it's a struggle because everybody's hurting, right? But if we can work together and be upfront about it, I think that will benefit everybody in the community.
Okay. Another thing that's talked about is transportation, and in particular the Island Rail Corridor. Transportation is key to keeping our local economy moving. What's your stance on restoring rail service throughout the Island Rail Corridor? How do you plan to invest in public transportation and infrastructure to benefit the businesses and residents of this region?
Okay, well, this is really, really awesome. You got my answer that was in writing, but also just to add to that, at the regional district, they're working on the transportation plan and also through North Cowichan. And a survey had gone out to both, through both avenues, and then come back with how can we improve the services to keep people connected, especially for the youth going to school or someone going to work in the valley here. And so just looking at those gaps of the time and making sure we are timing that is very important. And it's a work in progress all the time, but we're making progress, I think. And also it's just being able to be adaptive to the growing population too. So being mindful for that as well. And, you know, with the Island Corridor, there's many discussions that have happened over the years. And also in this, there are also more to the more involvement with First Nations. There are other competing interests like the Rails to Trails Society. So also making sure that all of these voices are included in this process. And also just looking at that. So yeah.
Great, thanks. And finally, do you have anything you'd just like to say to the business community in general?
Okay, well, my spouse prepared me for this. Anyways. So is it okay if I just talk a little bit about myself?
Please do.
Thank you very much. Okay, so as you know, my name is Debra Toporowski. My traditional name is Kultistinok. I was born and raised in the Cowichan Valley with First Nations and Chinese heritage. My grandparents are late Stephen Jack and late Rosie Peter of Cowichan. And on my father's side, my grandparents are Choi Yi and Su Yi Wong, who owned the historic Duncan Steam Laundry until 1974 at Jubilee and First. My mother is late Ethel Jack, and my father is Howard Wong. I have 3 brothers and 2 sisters. And as you had mentioned earlier, I've served with North Cowichan for 2 terms and 5 terms with Cowichan Tribes. I was appointed to the Cowichan Valley Regional District Board of Directors and became the Deputy Acting Mayor in 2018. And I've took a leave from that right now, but and before that, I worked for 12 years for 2 MLAs, Doug Routley and Bill Routley. So, and I, was really rewarding to support our community as a constituency assistant. And as I said, it was very rewarding. And I was appointed the Indigenous Watershed Champions in 2021 by Watershed BC and sat at the Cowichan Watershed Board for 8 years. And also served as a panel member for the Pacific Salmon Commission from 2020 to 2025. So I've been an advocate for over 20 years for family, friends, and community, and I remain committed to helping people to better my community. You know, I know people can go and view the platform of what David Eby and his team are going to do on the issues that are facing our small business, medium business. But I just wanted to really directly speak to the business community about what I would do if I'm elected as your MLA. And again, I just mentioned my work history, and I've been out on the street and been hearing about the very serious issues that are affecting not only the small businesses, but our residents, you know, and I want to be part of bringing those pieces of the puzzle together to better my community. And I feel this next step for me will help me in bringing all those tables that are working on these very solutions to the next level. So just wanted to share that.
Great. Thank you so much. So Debra Toporowski, BC NDP candidate. So make sure you go out and vote October 19th. Thank you so much.
Thank you.